her 1 week post birth checkup, and our doctor.
She still hadn't pooped. In 7 days she hadn't pooped.
Yeah, and so our doctor was very concerned, and so he told us like to give it a little bit more time and see. And so on day 9, she did poop, and so we're really excited. But then she didn't again, and so we were sent. It was
14 days after delivery?
It was 17 days after delivery is when we went into the surgeon's office, the GI surgeon's office. Everybody thought that she had Hirschsprung's disease, and that there was something wrong with her colon, that there weren't any neurons in her colon that were allowing her to pass stool. And so we went in, and he made her go and emptied her colon, because it had several days backed up, like several weeks backed up at that point. And so then we were scheduled for a biopsy, and we went in, did the biopsy, that came back normal. And so we were sent to a GI specialist who then had us do several tests on her colon, and everything was coming back normal, but she could not pass stool without medication. And so it was very clear that it was a motility issue, so the actual movement of stool in the body, not your typical, what we think of as constipation. And so during this whole time, she still wasn't breathing correct. She would stop breathing several times, like all the time.
More than we noticed.
She would stop breathing and then start breathing again. And looking back at videos and pictures and things, we can see that we have a video where she passes out because she didn't breathe and turned blue. And because we were told to ignore it, we didn't see it. Yeah,
she did it all the time.
And she did it all the time. Like it was. We have later found out that it was probably 27 times in a 12-hour period was the norm, and it was also in the midst of COVID during all of this, and so because we were told to ignore it and that it was normal, and because nobody really wanted to take a baby into the hospital if it wasn't necessary, we decided, we just didn't go in. We went into our doctors. We went into a pulmonologist for the first time, and because it became not normal, and so we went in and were told that this must be acid reflux, that she was having laryngospasms and it had to be acid reflux. And now we understand that other than kind of for the one super rare condition she has, acid reflux is what causes laryngospasms in babies. And there isn't really another known thing, because what she has is not well known. And doctors don't know what it is. So our doctor put her on acid blockers, and she continued the same as she had. We didn't see any change. And so then we upped them, added on another one, upped that, and we were maxed out on 2 acid blocker medicine. They were extremely expensive because for a baby.
Yep.
And
she still wasn't pooping without medication.
She was still not pooping without medication. She was not growing at that point either.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't growing, and we had to just keep upping her caloric intake, and eventually we got her growing, and we got her with medication passing stool, and then but she still was not breathing right.
Yeah, we couldn't figure that out.
And so at 10 months old, I believe it was
9 or 10 months.
9 or 10 months old, we had an episode where her owlette sock that we had on her alarmed.
And what is an owlette sock?
It is a pulse oximeter that is that you can get over the counter, and
it measures the oxygen in your blood.
Yeah.
So
her oxygen had a sustained reading under 80, which is significant. You know, it's a significant drop in your oxygen. It's generally around 98 to 100. So we woke her, got her up and called 911, and then because she recovers so quickly, and you wouldn't know. So what happens is her vocal cords shut, and then it takes a while, and it just depends on the episode before they can start to open, and then the oxygen comes in, and then she bounces back, and she's totally normal, which is part of our problem. Is unless you see a significant episode, it's hard to explain it, because kids breathe weird, they make weird sounds, they do weird things. And at this time we also thought that her eyes were a little off, and we couldn't explain that, but babies have weird eyes, so and they make weird expressions, and so all of these things, part of the issue is that she was young, and babies are different. And they breathe different, they look different, all of that. And so it was hard to explain everything